Now, the 11th race of the 2025 Formula One season was the Austrian Grand Prix. And at the Austrian Grand Prix, it was Red Bull's home race, so Max Verstappen would have been looking for a good result there. But unfortunately, on the first lap, Kimi Antonelli hit Max Verstappen and they both had a DNF, so they both did not finish the race. So it was a first lap, DNF for Max Verstappen, and that was a big blow to his championship challenge because even though he didn't start in the top position, he wanted to, have a good race and, score some good points, that would have helped his championship challenge. Okay, Lando Norris was on pole position for the race. He kept the lead in the early laps, and despite a challenge from Oscar Piastri, Lando kept the lead. And on lap 11, there was a battle between, Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri, where Piastri was really, really vying for the lead, but Lando ended up keeping the lead. And on lap 20, there was another challenge by Oscar Piastri, trying to overtake, before the pit stops, to be the lead driver, to come in the pits here, to have the favorable pit strategy from McLaren. So it was the two McLarens battling for their win of the Austrian Grand Prix. But in the end, Lando Norris, kept his nerve and won the Austrian Grand Prix by only 2.695 seconds. So he picked up the 25 points and Oscar Piastri picked up 18 points, pertaining to the championship. And, Max Verstappen had to retire, he had a DNF and he had a collision. So it wasn't good for him. Even though he started in 7th position, he could have scored some good points. He could have at least gone into the top 5, but it wasn't to be. And he lost a lot of points to the two McLarens. So after the Austrian Grand Prix, the championship standings was, in first position, you had Oscar Piastri with 216 points. In second position, you had Lando Norris with 201 points. In third position, you had Max Verstappen with 155 points. Now, it's important to notice, between the two McLarens, there was a 15-point gap. And Max Verstappen was, let's say, so Oscar Piastri was on 216 points and Max Verstappen was on 155 points. So that's over a 50-point margin, So Max Verstappen was a long way after the Austrian Grand Prix because of the DNF. He was a long way off the championship lead, and, it was a miracle that he managed to fight back towards the end of the season, to make it a close championship. So he was 61 points behind Oscar Piastri, and Lando Norris was only 15 points behind Oscar Piastri. So Max had a lot of work to do, and, the two McLarens were fighting it out, for the championship lead. So the next race would have been the British Grand Prix, which would have been the 12th race of the season.